So I'm sitting here at the end of a very relaxing final day of, well, finals. It's my only day of finals. Um, and I'm now looking back at the semester in writing research and technology. When we first started out, we started out talking about digital natives and digital immigrants. We talked about we um, how we who are on the internet now speak a different language than those who are on it, who are just getting on it, uh, and didn't have it as children. The thing is, I was raised in the '90s, so I didn't really have the internet until the late '90s. So for me, I'm digital first generation. I call it. So I still think of things in the one way communication variety. Um, I don't look at my blog as a place for me to have conversations with people. I look at it as a place to put my work up and have it read. Um, I'm interested to see what people say about my work, but I don't ever actually want to address them. Because, for the most part, unless I'm making another statement, which is another piece of work, I'm not really engaged in a dialogue with my audience. I'm, I guess I'm a little old school like that. I don't know. Um, but that being said, that stuff happens. But I wanted to branch out this semester. I wanted to work out some of my issues, and believe me, this semester made me painfully aware of my issues. Um, I'm a very shy guy. I don't talk very well, and through doing these vlogs, I really think I've improved in that. Um, I love vlogging as an idea, as a genre. Um, Although I wish that I could use something other than my camera because my arms get tired. Um, I find that unedited vlogging, to me, um, it's pure to some extent. Um, I like the idea that I can just say something that'll just happen, and it'll get on the and it'll be on there, and I might not have planned that. I wasn't thinking about doing it. I wasn't thinking about putting it in there, but it got in there, and it was profound. Um, Something like when I did the oral history. Part of the project was I did a food survey where I fed my friends various foods, organic and non-organic, and I asked them what they felt like, what they felt tasted better. But we ended up getting into this conversation about how my test was one, probably going to be inconclusive, and two, wasn't going to give any evidence which was scientifically reasonable, because I didn't grow them in the exact same soil and have everything except for the pesticides be the same. You know, all of that is going to play a role in how the food tastes and all of that. But we got into that and we talked about that, and I loved the fact that we talked about that. All right, and this gets me into the oral history. Now I have a email from one of my group mates who was not pleased with me, um, and I can understand why, but at the same time, there is another part of me which kind of thinks that the reason why isn't quite as good as as it should be. All right, her reasoning. She said I was being negative, and that if I had problems with the way the project was being run, I should have brought it to them. The thing is that we were going through a hierarchical approach. All right, I was the worker bee. I was, well, not the worker bee. I was the lazy guy who was like, okay, what do you need me to do, and I'll do it. You can do you can do the organizing. I'm going to go and get something. All right. And as we did that, and I didn't really want to be part of the organizing of the thing, but I brought things up. I talk about things, and I criticize things. Possibly, yeah, sure. But in my mind, I was never being negative. I was just being honest. I was talking about the weaknesses of our research, about the way that we presented our research, because in my mind, if you are not telling the entire story, if you're not telling them, yes, yes, here's the evidence I have, but here are the weaknesses of that evidence for you to take into consideration. Grain of salt. I'm a firm believer in the take it with a grain of salt philosophy. I want you to know when I am possibly off base, when I am, going to say things which might be a little wrong. I want you to know, that a lot of times I'm full of shit. I think that it's, just being honest. It's just telling it as it is. One of my favorite TV shows, Penn and Teller's Bullshit. Alright, they were doing the war on porn, which was really just an excuse to have boobs on the show. But at one point they were talking about how according to their research, the states which had the highest per capita access to the internet and thus to porn had the lowest rape rates per capita, and that the states which had the lowest access to porn had the highest rape rates. So, and they pointed this out. But then they immediately pointed out that correlation does not equal causation. The fact that it doesn't mean anything. That yeah, this is interesting. However, we cannot actually use this as scientific evidence in the argument. It's just interesting. And so that's sort of where I'm at. Like, I like the annotated bibliography kind of approach. I like to show, hey, here's everything I found. Yes, I'm crafting an argument, but I'm also showing you all of the places where I looked. All of the things. I'm using everything from what I could pull. Not just what was there. Not just what was there. That sounds odd. No, not. Okay, I have no idea what I was about to say. Alright, so continuing on. The Twitteriv. Okay, over the course of the Twitteriv, I used a lot of video, because that was something I was experimenting with a lot. I really, I talk about how honest the video is, how I get to say things which I wasn't planning on saying, how things occurred to me while I was doing them, and things that I wanted to say got left out, because that was kind of how it went. I just didn't have the right segue to bring me into that. I really did enjoy working on this Twitter. It ended up becoming something totally different from what I planned out, and I'm probably going to remove the entire first page and start it on the David as a Theorist, but at the same time it doesn't really give you that look at how I started out this, how I made order out of chaos, but at the same time I wasn't really making order out of chaos at the end. I was looking at how I create stories, and not from the order versus chaos perspective, but from the, hey, let me look at it. Let me look at it from multiple angles. Let me find the protagonists. All right, let me figure them out. Let me figure how they work, how they fit together, what their roles are, and then let me find a plot which is not necessarily related directly to them. They don't have to hate the villain on a personal level. He could just do something in the course of his being evil to, get them to face him. That was something. It gets you to think about plot, and also gets you to think about how you stage things, because you can't have, your new swordsman, the guy who's a farm boy lesson at the very beginning. just suddenly start kicking ass all the time. No, no, no. He's got to do the little things first. Um, and you have to scale it up. You have to go very slowly. You have to level him up. He really does have to grow as as a character and as a like a workout, really. He like if I were to exercise, which I don't. I really should. Um, you know, one of the one of the best pictures I ever found online was this uh, picture from XKCD. It was a comic, and it had this guy. He was doing chin ups, and he said, as soon as I started actually connecting it to gaming stats, I had a much better time at exercising. And I like that. I like looking at the world as if it is a game, as if, look at schooling. Everything scales up. Everything makes it so that you are learning a little bit more about how to do the thing you're going to learn next semester. So that over time you're prepared. I mean, over the past week, I've written, let's see, no, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I have written a 15-page script, if it were double spaced, 18-page treatment. Now, it's 10 pages at its current spacing because its current spacing was actually really pretty. Um, let's see, 3 pages for the last page of the quarter, 3 pages for the second, and I'm fairly certain I came close to 3 pages for the second for the last page of the Twitter, and then I don't know how many different how many minutes of video I've shot. Uh, I never could have done this if I hadn't been gradually working up to that. I mean, this is a lot of work that I had all at once. And now, because of gradually increasing my ability to do this, I was able to conquer an assignment much longer than the one that nearly killed me last semester. And I'm dabbling in hyperbole when I say nearly killed me. It did, though, cause me to have a slight nervous breakdown. But now I'm calm. I'm relaxed. And I still have a little bit to do. I'm got a whole bunch of videos I want to shoot for the last page of the Twitter. But I'm good right now. I'm calm and I'm not panicking. I don't think I've actually had a serious panic this whole semester because I know that I can do it. And at some points, yeah, it's actually not as good that I don't panic because I tend to put things off to the last minute because because I can do it. Because I can do it at the last minute. I've done it at the last minute, and I've gotten good grades at the last minute. But at the same time, if I had done it earlier, I probably would have done better. This whole semester was me looking at all the things that make me kind of a shitty human being. I don't like to work with other people. And I am a little negative when I talk to them. To me, I just write it off as being honest with them. I'm not trying to be mean. They're just taking offense to it. But at the same time, I am saying things which are offensive. I've been the slacker. I've done a lot. I've had a lot of work, but at the same time, so have other people in my group. Why was my work more of an excuse than theirs? I don't know. Maybe I'm just spitballing here. I did really enjoy making a multimodal piece. That was fun. There were so many different modes I really wanted to explore, which I never really got to do. And I kind of want to work that out a little better and how to make it better. But for now, I guess I have to stop because I only have 30 seconds left before I reach the longest point that I can actually put something onto YouTube from my phone. So it's 15 seconds left, and I'm not going to 10 seconds. This has been a great semester. Thank you.